Jordan Peterson once said, "Suffering is not evidence of life's injustice, it's evidence of its depth." When thought is born from pain, it can either set us free or quietly destroy us. Those who run to philosophy before confronting themselves often end up building castles of intellect around an untouched wound. It's easy to talk about meaning, but much harder to live it when you're face to face with your own chaos. As Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how, but those without that why often search for ideas to hide behind to avoid seeing who they've become." For Peterson, awareness doesn't begin when we understand life, but when we stop justifying it. Because thought, no matter how noble it seems, can become a subtle drug that numbs our fear of truth. Dostoevsky once wrote, "Man is capable of getting used to anything, but don't take away his meaning." Yet today, many don't lose meaning because they never found it, but because they analyzed it to death until the feeling was gone. And that, perhaps, is the quiet tragedy of modern consciousness. We've replaced living with explaining and turned philosophy from a bridge to freedom into a sanctuary where we hide from it. Have you noticed how the very words meant to enlighten us can turn into tools that numb our awareness? Some philosophers don't give you freedom, they simply teach you how to justify your cage. Have you ever noticed that the ones who speak most about freedom are often the most enslaved to their own ideas? Some don't seek truth, they seek a belief strong enough to hide it. We love to think. We love to analyze, to interpret, to build frameworks that make sense of everything. But deep down, much of what we call thinking is just a sophisticated way to escape feeling, to escape silence, that terrifying space where truth appears without words. Since the dawn of time, humans have feared the unknown, so we hid behind theories, myths, and philosophies. But fear didn't disappear, it simply changed its mask. It became educated, articulate, elegant, and we now call it thought. Thought, in its essence, is a magnificent tool, but it becomes a prison the moment we mistake it for our identity. When we no longer see reality as it is, but only as our concepts allow us to see it. When we judge an experience before living it, or interpret emotions before letting ourselves actually feel them. Thought loves control, but awareness loves truth. Thought asks, how do I fix this? How do I survive? How do I understand? Awareness asks, who is the one trying to understand?
That's where the paradox of modern philosophy lives, even among the great thinkers we admire, like Jordan Peterson. Peterson speaks beautifully about order, discipline, and responsibility, and these are noble ideas. But when ideas become sacred, they start to build walls between us and our own chaos, the creative, alive, unpredictable side of the human soul. He sees order as the path to salvation, but perhaps chaos is where true consciousness is born. Because when everything collapses, when there's nothing left to hold on to, when every structure fails, you finally begin to see. You are not the order nor the chaos. You are the awareness watching both. Many people use philosophy the same way others use religion, as armor against the unknown, not as a doorway into it. They memorize concepts like sacred verses. They argue, they defend, they debate. But deep down, they're just afraid of living without answers. Thought loves to know, but awareness understands it doesn't need knowledge to be at peace. Thought wants to define love. Awareness wants to feel it. Thought wants to explain freedom. Awareness simply wants to breathe it. That's why modern philosophy often feels both beautiful and suffocating. It dazzles you with depth, but numbs you to direct experience. It makes you talk about meaning instead of tasting it, write about awareness instead of falling into it, reflect on love instead of surrendering to it. Thinkers like Jordan Peterson and many others try to save humanity through structure, But in doing so, they recreate the oldest illusion, that life must be controlled. What if life doesn't need control, but presence? What if awakening isn't about tightening your grip, but about loosening it with trust?
True awareness isn't achieved through force or overthinking. It arises in stillness, in the quiet moments where mental noise fades, and you remember what's always been true. You are not your thoughts. You are not your experiences. You are the awareness that sees them all. Thought is a double-edged sword. When it serves you, it illuminates. When you serve it, it blinds. That's why the true philosopher is not the one who explains truth, but the one who learns to fall silent before it. Only then does philosophy stop being a mask we hide behind and become a window through which we finally see what's real. If you're drawn to spaces that don't hand you ready-made answers, but awaken questions you never dared to ask, welcome to your mirror. Here, we don't try to understand the world. We try to see ourselves through it.